was blessed by the beats in the holy temple of city lights. Slammed by the word speakers in Seattle, the star bars sparkled in my eyes. Halluced in a tent of hissing spoken word, I was saved in San Diego by the poet's tree. Sangria Lizzie dazzled me with hot Spanish licks on my cool blue skin. She left my heart beating like a flamenco dancer's shoes. Oracle Mark waits at the intersection in Park in Washington, with the angst of Market Street still on the Southern Comfort lips, hovering over me, smelling of a bad woman in a deep blues dress. Are you a poet, man? He kept saying. Are you a poet? Man, I feel deliverance moving in, the sprouting hairs from my chin. My hands stroke bongos, my hip feet got the beat. Down the sidewalks past Kerouac Sally. He was out with Sally drinking again, thinking about going to Mexico. Alan was howling in the fog that blanketed North Beach. Bukowski slumming in a hotel of lost souls, saying that poetry just saved his ass. Ferlinghetti lives in city lights, spends nights painting pictures by the window. Beat, beat, beat. My feet hit the street and I was out there. Way out there, man. Silver plane giving me wings. My bag full of word things spilling from a shuttle that droned me home. Dangerous Dan, the word man, met me at the gate. Said I'd be late for a reading, needing readers. Exceedingly tired, I pulled my felt hat down. The poet man was back in town. Welcome to the International Poetry Beat Festival. Our MC tonight will be Mr. Alex Bosworth. Alex, come on
up. I sit in the coffee house on University, dipping my biscotti in my mocha latte and listening to the poet on stage. I'd like to find the person who taught them to read like this somewhere in a dark parking lot where I would use a rusty machete to gut them like a fish. Around here. So the first act we got coming on tonight is the Mightier P.E.N.S doing Downtown. Ladies and gentlemen, the Mightier P.E.N.S! Come on up! We
are
the Mightier P.E.N.S.
We are
the Mightier P.E.N.S.
We are
the Mightier P.E.N.S.
We are the Mightier P.E.N.S.
Woo!
Downtown. I'm going downtown on a trolley, red and fast, beat, beat, into the heart of the city, clip, clop that never stops, running over people, moving them aside, show your urban pride in new hotels where the old ones once stood. Doesn't matter that 306 people have to sleep on the streets. We'll build more houses away from downtown.
Downtown. Budget's overdrawn. Guess they just have to wait for a roof over their heads. Clean, lily white neighborhoods. Don't want no minorities living in their backyards. Work too hard to let them close. Let them stay in downtown.
Downtown! Where high-class ladies drive their BMWs past families living in cars. Where bars charge $9 for a beer. No bums here. Just tourists looking for a good time. Can you spare a dime? Dime won't buy nothing nowadays. Quarter, dollar would be better. I could buy a piece of plastic with that so I won't get wet sleeping under the freeway bridge while I'm living here in downtown.
Downtown?
Hey, mister, I got a sister that looks real fine. Hey, I need to get a bottle of wine. Oh, I see you're the other way. Well, I'm sorry, my brother's busy today.
Downtown!
Downtown! Where men work at high finance, just jugglers just doing their dance up the corporate ladder, $1 million deals. Well, I'm down here wondering just how it feels to wear three-piece suits, Gucci boots, silk ties, tell lies in air-conditioned offices uptown while I'm walking around here in downtown. Downtown!
Trash is blonde, It ain't snowing. It's just water sloshing in my shoes.
This awning's nice, and I think more than twice about leaving this safe place.
Art galleries don't feed me, just a look-see of pretty pictures on the wall.
It's all well and nice, but I hope you don't get sliced up waiting on the corner.
I'm a blood donor. It don't pay much. Just a crutch to prop up my sagging moral values. I'm singing the blues about living downtown. Downtown.
Rescue mission is dishing up the food if you're in the mood and have the right attitude. They're just trying to keep your soul from flying and your head from lying on the cold concrete. So take a seat and let's eat here in downtown.
We
R.
The
Mightier.
P.E.N.S.
We
R.
We
R.
the
Mightier.
P.E.N.S.
We are the Mightier.
Thanks for coming out here tonight. We're down and doing a celebration of beat poetry. So it's not all beat poetry. You can do your thing, but if you know some Kerouac, or you know some Ferlinghetti, or you know some Ginsberg or some Burroughs, feel free to read it. I'm going to do a quote by Burroughs right now, and it's my favorite quote, which is, "Nobody does more harm in this world than people that feel terrible about doing it later. God save us all from a difficult decision in the Pentagon." Hold on a second, that's my right. Hey, come on! And next up, we got Adam Greenfield. Let's hear for Adam Greenfield, everybody! Adam Greenfield!
Well, you mentioned Kerouac, so I was going to bring some Raymond Carver, but I was told he's not quite
That's
a
good too, Raymond Carver.
I
Best
unfortunately...
picture last year.
Really?
Yeah, in the movie, what was it? Batman, or what was the name of that? Hawkman, Birdman? Birdman won Best Picture based on a Raymond Carver story.
Was it?
Yeah, it
Well,
was.
I should know that, but yeah, I should have brought Raymond Carver then. Oh well.
Shortcuts.
I guess Kerouac will work.
There we go.
So this is called How to Meditate. Lights out, fall, hands aclasped into instantaneous ecstasy, like a shot of heroin or morphine. The gland inside of my brain discharging the good, glad fluid, holy fluid, as I hat down and hold all my body parts down to a dead stop trance, healing all my sickness, erasing all, not even the shred of a I hope you, or a loony balloon left in it, but the mind blank, serene, thoughtless. When a thought comes a-springing from afar with its held forth figure of image, you spoof it out, you spuff it off, you fake it, and it fades. And thought never comes, and with joy you realize for the first time, thinking's just like not thinking, so I don't have to think anymore.
Wow.
I should have read that one last, because now I gotta follow that up with my own. There's a tour from my book, Regarding the Monkey, put out by Press, so hop on over the website.
Yeah, Puna Press.
I've got a few copies here if you're interested. Cast check, social security number. Alright, this is National Anthem. I live in a country set up for all to be a part of. Once you fill out the necessary paperwork and a background check is complete, and you learn the language and you leave your own at the door. A land led by leaders who don't listen, leaders who bastardize their own, leaders who ignore who chose them as leaders. A world still writhing in racial disarray, still burning crosses in white robes on the lawns of those of a different shade of skin, even though their basic composition is still the same. A home on the range where religion will get you killed, and where my God can beat up your God, and where faith pushers are just as dangerous as the faith they push. I live in a country, an overweight country, full of heart attacks born of stress and grief and fast food diets, where you can have it your way, just as long as it doesn't interfere with mine. A state where I can sue you if you look at me wrong, or step on a crack where you could hurt my mother, where I don't have to take responsibility for my own actions. A parcel of skewed priorities, where lines are individualized, where we use words like majority and minority when it comes to gender and race, especially the human race. A home that makes it hard to even live, where I'm told if I don't like it, I can leave, as opposed to what can be done to make it better. A ground that works against my personal beliefs and convictions, and where the moral code is indecipherable. I live in a country in which we all have a job to do. A task so enormous, so devastatingly dangerous that we all must work as one. Yet all I hear, all I see, all I read is my country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of indignity. Of thee I will defend to keep the likes of you out. The last one, this is called We Left the Tree Too Soon. This is also in the book regarding the monkey. Dear Karma, you've let me down. Because all around are animals and their mates. They are primates and they're mating and replicating the same stupid ooh 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 and ah ah ah. Fucking monkeys. As they swing from shiny thing to shiny thing while they fling their shit around the room and a broom just smears it around. Don't you have to get down on your hands and knees to clean up the mess they made? And you can yell at them, but they don't listen. They just go about their day as if to say there's no such thing as just happened, only what's happening now and what will happen. Fucking monkeys. Goddamn savages with an average IQ and a fat beer gut to boot. But you want to know the sad truth? They're you and me and our naughty family tree. Blood relative or not, agree or disagree, we've got shit in our hands, cocked and loaded, ready to be thrown the moment the other approaches with empty hands. For no one likes the unknown, yet no one likes to be shown a path to growth, and it's gross. It's an overwhelming net result of an insulting truth. We're better off staying in trees. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I remember when I was 10 years old, I was sweeping up in front of our house, and I couldn't help notice how many dead moths had accumulated underneath the porch light. My dad had put in one of those 700-watt bulbs that was running bugs for miles around. And I remember asking my mother as I was sweeping up a bunch of them into a paper bag, why do so many moths gather around our porch light? And she said, because they think it's the moon. Because they think it's the moon. I thought maybe some of that bug dust had gotten into her brain. And so I looked it up in a book on entomology, and she was right. The book said, quote, the instinct to follow the moon with its many varied patterns ensures the moth's population is widely disseminated. And I thought, what if there's more to it than that? What if it was the moth's destiny to reach the moon, but they got distracted by our stupid light bulbs, and insects' noble dream crushed because we were afraid of the dark? Oh, sure, we got to the moon, we planted our little flag, did our little dance. I bet there were millions of moths watching from screen doors that day in 1969, cussing us out under their breath. They're tripping me up there, they said to themselves. And how do they gain their revenge? They eat our clothing when we're not looking. I bet Neil Armstrong had sweaters that were riddled with holes the size of your fist. And he'd say, honey, why do they do this? And she'd say, maybe they think it's the moon. Coming up next, Rudy the G. Rudy the G, ladies and gentlemen!
Thank you, Alex. All right, so my beat poet is Charles Bukowski from the book What Matters Most Is How Well You Walk Through the Fire. And the poem is called Young Men. Again and again, young men write me the same letter. I can't write, but I want to write. I read your stuff and I want to write just like you. Can you please tell me something that will help? All around me, the hills are on fire. Floodwaters run through here, swarming with rats. The streets roar and yawn to swallow me. I'm choking and can't breathe. They want to write? Like me? What do they mean? What's writing? I only want to go to bed, close my eyes, and sleep forever.
Yeah.
All right. I failed love so many times, like I'm testing it. I can spit such venomous shit from my mouth as a self-defense mechanism. But why? Some call it a bullshit skill that I can fool you. I'm tough like you. You could say I'm a whirlwind, changing all worldviews. If only you heard the news. I'm underground, staying in my bat cave. My literal words make my life a slave. and I'd sure like cases of wine to gift and re-gift each and every time, and I'm glad it's a holiday. I speak so much, you say. What you say? What you say? I say every day is a brand new day, and I test your love. You don't see me every day, though you insist I am judged by every single move I make. There's a group of people who never liked you. They just didn't know you, and they didn't even know themselves, though some sought to revolutionize ideals of words and spirituality. Take me back, in the back, to remember. And this one's called She Inspires Me. She inspires me like greenery, like all the colors of all the bunches of flowers in their majesty. And I come from the land of the dead to serenade her. This life is an all-encompassing dream. Here I am, waiting in line, in between lives. Sometimes I nod off to nap or sleep, and I'm in another life. It was she with the face not so clearly defined for my viewing pleasure when I was the witness to my very own future life in dreams, surrounded by green leaves in the night. There was a light beyond the porch through a frosted glass door to the home that would be ours, or was it ours, or was it me? Was it she? I woke up in line again and remembered this dream each and every single time, even after I became alive. And this time, this is no dream. This is me. So please, humor me while I serenade you and tell me that you are a passing dream. In the land of the living, I'm serenading for you as if for the sake of fantasy, or so it seems. But those greens that I see grew from a seed that fell from a greater tree. Could I be hugging her, a tree with my vines I so know what to do with? Two lovers that were plants and trees that were always there, and still are, and continue to be as lovers uncut. And I come from the land of the dead, but I won't see them again, because I found my tree, and I am vines caressing. So, don't cut me down, don't cut she down, don't cut we down. Can you see just what it really means that two lovers have finally found each other? Thank you.
Let's hear it again for Rudy, the G. Rudy Gonzalez, everybody. Rudy the G. When I was a kid, I avoided all punishment. Because when they'd say, hey, do you want a spanking? I'd go, oh yeah, I want a spanking, yeah. Only want daddy to do it. Yeah, daddy knows what I like, yeah. Daddy, spank my bare bottom, and I like, just accentuate bare bottom. Bare bottom, yeah. I want to spank it so hard. And they'd give me a talking to instead, and they didn't know. Talking to is what really got me off. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up tonight, you are in for. We got one of my favorites, Ted Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Ted Washington. Woo! We need to spank him.
I'm ill prepared. I feel like I should read a spanking poem.
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with where I was going to go to begin with. This is one of my favorite poets. She's one of the beat poets. They never really acknowledge the women that much, but Diane DePrimo is just badass. And people think that they were cutting edge, but her shit was just like, she was willing to go to jail to write and publish what she wrote. So I'm going to read one of her poems. This is a Revolutionary Letter number 19. I have the curse of my close-up eyesight getting better as I get older, which is really strange, because I have to take my glasses off. Revolutionary Letter number 19 for the Poor People's Campaign. If what you want is jobs for everyone, you are still the enemy. You have not thought through clearly what that means. If what you want is housing, industry, GE on Navajo Reservation, a car for everyone, garage, refrigerator, TV, more plumbing, scientific freeways. You are still the enemy. You have chosen to sacrifice the planet for a few years of some science fiction utopia. If what you want still is or can be schools where all our kids are pushed into one shape, are taught it's better to be American than black or Indian or Jap or PR, where Dick and Jane become and are the dream. Do you look like Dick's father? Don't you think your kid secretly wishes you did? If what you want is clinics where the AMA can feed you pills to keep you weak or sterile, shoot germs into your kids while Merck and company grows richer. If you want free psychiatric help for everyone so that the shrinks, pimps for this decadence, can make it flower for us if you want. If you still want a piece, a small piece of suburbia, green lawn laid down by the square foot, color TV, whose radiant energy kills brain cells, whose subliminal ads brainwash our children, have taken over our dreams. Degrees from universities, which are nothing more than slum landlords, festering sinks of lies, so you can go forth and be to others the same green campus, then you are still the enemy. You are selling yourself short. Remember, you can have what you ask for. Ask for everything. That was the first time I read that poem out loud. I slaughtered parts of it. I'm sorry.
No.
Because I love her work so much, and I just butchered that. But I'm going to butcher one of my own too. So here we go.
Great butchering, man.
Yeah, man, that's what I do. I'm going to get my knife up here. And this poem is going to prove. This poem is called Vote. This is brand new. I've only read it live once, so we're going to try it again. Here we go. The block and cleaver loom, and it's that time again. But this time, one has to go. Fitting that its demise can only be carried out by the other. These choices suck. Digits, the accumulation of digits, the results of work done by digits, done for themselves, each coerced into collusion, into actions that serve only themselves, each alone. But the body will be served, but even this is a selfish act. Each promising the body more while delivering less. Who serves who? It's a sales job, well orchestrated and printed and televised and blogged and podcasted and tweeted and Oculus Rifted to sway the body. Funding is no issue. The body pays again. Money is printed faster than they can burn it. The extremes are served. The body is split. Fractures erupt. Revolution occurs despite the unanswered question of direction. Bipolar results. The body spins. Cycles, 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 stationary cycles, spinning and spinning and spinning and going nowhere. The latest fad to be fit. For the future is now, and looking back is blinding. Like texting and driving, destined to hit destiny or just dessert served. Over and over, ignored lessons, refreshed, all mistakes new and fresh, and new mistakes all refreshed, lessons ignored over and over. While two parties offer doses but no cure for the dizzying vertigo, falling, falling, always falling for the promises and lies, only if they could work together, greatness. They have done so before, but the body paid. There is not enough to sate the greed. More, each cries, or should I say signs. Words are not orated, nor requests vetted. It's an insider's game, and only they benefit from the tete-a-tete. The ball is passed back and forth, the can kicked. And at the curb, the body struggling. One day, the ringing will cease. And one day, the left and right hand will understand that they serve the body that now lays in the gutter while they clutch the curb. But they don't care, because it is the season. The block waits, and the cleaver only requires one hand.
so we're here to dedicate, our work to great beat poets tonight, and so I got to read my favorite beat poet. And before it was Allen Ginsberg, but then in about 2001, I came over to Claire de Lune's, which is right down the street, and I heard this man, Chris Vannoy, reading, and it blew my mind. Now, I'm not a beat poet, even though they did an article on us in, what was it, Street Beat, or what was it, some city, San Diego, one of the, did an article on us. It said, yeah, and it said, you got, these two guys are the beat poets of San Diego, and they're keeping beat poetry alive. And as you know, they pick a hook, that they want to go on. I'm not a beat poet. I'm a short I'm a satirist. And this guy, Chris Vannoy, really is the heartbeat of beat poetry here in San Diego. And so the first time I heard him read, I said, I gotta know this guy. And he's been a good friend of me ever since. He's giving me a ride home tonight. So this is a piece of his. It's one of my favorite pieces I've ever heard in my life. It's called Stray Bullets. Stray bullets exploding from the muzzle of some young punk's gun as he discharges reality that spits fear at his enemies, somehow folding them into stillness on a sidewalk in streets where they are remembered in chalk line drawings and yellow ribbons that say, "Do not cross." Stray bullets only go one way, carry no apologies, feel no remorse, know only the long ballistics stop when they can go no further. They don't sound like death, more like the 4th of July. The baby just stopped crying, that's all. That's all. Stray bullets. And now, that was a piece by Chris Vannoy. I don't read other people's work, but I'm reading that piece. And the next artist we got coming up is right there. His name is Michael Ortega, and we can't wait to hear him. Michael Ortega, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to be reading autobiography from Coney Island of the Mind, Lawrence Ferlinghetti. But before I do, I want to share an experience I had with the man. As a child, he drew a picture of me in some restaurant with my parents, because they were kind of beats, in North Beach somewhere. And I had that picture in my baby book all these years. Well, a few years ago, I found out he was going to be hosting the Berkeley Watershed Festival. So I said, wouldn't it be a great idea to give that picture back to him? I did. He freaked. He was crying. I got to read there at the Berkeley Watershed Festival because I'm probably the farthest person away. And so he interviewed me, and when he interviewed me, I gave him his picture back. And he was like, wow, that was a beautiful experience. Lawrence Ferlinghetti, this is an excerpt from autobiography from Coney Island of the Mind. I am leading a quiet life in Mike's place every day. I had an unhappy childhood. I saw no angel. I have not been out to the cloisters in a long time, but I still keep thinking of going. I like it here, and I won't go back where I came from. I have seen the laughing woman at Luna Park outside the funhouse in a great rainstorm. Still laughing, I have heard the sound of revelry by night. I have wandered lonely as a crowd. I have engaged in silence, exile, and cunning. I am looking for the lost leader with whom I flew. Young men should be explorers. Home is where one starts from. I am leading a quiet life in Mike's place every day, looking for a stone leaf or an unfound door. I see another war is coming, but I won't be there to fight it. I have ridden superhighways and seen cities of the plain with roving bands of natives. I have a passport. I am a good Joe. I am an open book to my boss. I am a complete mystery to my closest friends. I have written wild stories without punctuation. I am a raid on the inarticulate. I see a similarity between a laughing woman and myself. I am leading a quiet life in Mike's place every day, and I may write my own eponymous epitaph instructing the horseman to pass. Okay, and this one in the space between. A wanderer with only a knapsack and open-mindedness in the space between separation, living as a free bird. 4 years on a flight deck, set free to make my way. In the space between, no direction and facing daydreams. I have been all smiles at one time or another on sunny days. Sometimes becomes invisible on cold and damp days. In the space between, I tend to dance with wild abandon. Hovers around my shortcomings as if they're really there. Cooed into believing the lie, making it all up as I go along for the ride. In the space between, where I have no regrets, making a living, anything I can get my hands on. Finding creativity just lie there. In the space between space, I'm leading a quiet life in my place every day. Breathing rhythms while running, disassociates thought, mind like a clean slate. Cool headwind pushing me around, everything around me in sync. Surrounded by footsteps, puts me out, calm, no worries, no pain. No way could I stop anything in this experience as it flows about without me. Call it running wild, contented, 1,000-yard stare turned inward, knowing you're on course, loose rocks painted in blood, cutting sign. Second wind passed away a while back. Keeps the pace, footrunner clan, healing the trauma of identity, disappears into the earth. I'm still there. The courage to bleed out as a life lived, a singularity of honesty in a world of illusion, circumnavigating the whole universe with each breath, with the kind of gratitude you could only hear at sunrise. Thank you.
Again from Michael Ortega, ladies and gentlemen. I've tried listening to his work, and I'm a pretty hard-hearted guy, you know? And I've listened to his work, and really, it's a little tear, right?
Yeah.
The next reader we got coming up is my hero. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Vannoy.
Oh.
We're all glad you're here, Mr. Alex Bosworth. I got a poem by Lawrence Ferlinghetti. I got my Lawrence Ferlinghetti story too. Went up to City Lights bookstore a few years back, and Ferlinghetti was up on the top floor moving his bookshelf around, so I helped him move the bookshelf around City Lights.
That's awesome.
I'm going to read the first number 9 poem. See, it was like this. We waltz into this place and this papish cat is doing an Aztec 2-steps. And I says, Dad, let's cut. But this dame comes up behind me and says, you and me could really exist. Only the next morning, she had bad teeth and really hates poetry. This one's called Flight for Allen Ginsberg. I went to the day that Ellan died, I went to the coffee shop, read Howe all the way through, and wrote this poem. I churn inside this dream that is not a dream, in this night that is not a night but the dawn of a new day. You lie silent now, sleeping your sleep of kings, and king you were of words so spurned. And king you were of words, of music, of sperm swilling and protest, uttering profanities that rent streets, calling to blue mornings and red nights, smashing lights along the emptied streets, where the beat slowly disappears behind a curtain of closed eyes. They will publish your last book in commemoration, and you will howl again from the bookshelves and old news clips. You will spit from the stage of my memory, gray beard of a giant man, your shoes tapping the polished floor as you rage on, delivering your words to the wise and foolish alike, your words that have graced the ears and mouths of many men, your words debated by senators and prostitutes and tow-headed farm boys, drooling their way through university lit courses. I see your shadow. It catches at the corner of my eye as you steal away with this life in your pocket. A pocket with your hand deep inside of it, fondling your dick, remembering all the men who have enjoyed it or would have liked to. The cannibal of your soul ate only greens and meditated on blank verse society as you chanted mantras to Dylan, protesting skeletons of war over the drumming roar of B-52s churning their way over North Vietnam. And all the time you were leaving, moving along the cracked back of America, spreading seeds of revolution as you careened through drunken streets of broken glass, where passed out junks were spread like almond paste along the sleeping sidewalks. You filled the cracks with the best of them when you spread your sheets with writing and love. And when you slept at night, your dreams struggled against your iron pillow of self, stiff against your face. I saw you sleeping in matted dreams. I saw you sleeping in boxcars that rattled along the iron roads. I saw you raging in Patterson on a night of magic and terror, the picture of your lover placed purposefully on the table, covered with his handkerchief, still stained with his semen. I saw you, and then you were gone, traveling a short ways, opening your hairy wings, lifting above me, saying, "Right, right, this night of my passing I will be here above you. Right, right," you said, "do not look up too long, or you will stumble over the crumbling architecture of the coming century." You said, "Look down, down at the page, and then out into the stub-toed world. Pluck its images off like flies' wings, crush the juice from them, spill their seed back upon your paper." You said, "Peel back the eyeballs of consciousness, slice open the womb of contemporary thinking. Take my child out with both hands," and report his crime to the Boston Globe. You said this, then I heard you whisper, "Right, right." My head turned down, I wrote, pen flashing, lightning and thunder, my pen spilling its virgin seed upon the page where it remembers you. I shot out of San Diego like a cruise missile guided by red laser taillights, fueled on caffeinated elixir and adrenaline at 3 a.m. after 4 hours sleep. Injected steel and glass projectile into a freeway that resembled strings of cubic zirconia and rhinestone. Starred sky revolved into daylight. Morning found me carving circles through Compton. Sun sparkled diamond-lighted parked car windows on trash-lined, pothole streets, where the old red line station house still stands, safe from destruction by an African-American woman's hand. Spires, watchtowers rise proud, anchored concrete over incessant iron. Needle columns punched defiantly into blue after rain sky. After Watts, 1965. After Rodney King, 1992. Community Action Council fused multiracial human beings into a movement of one over a breakfast of passionate grits. Powerful fried chicken, intense biscuits, and furious hot coffee. Multicultural psyche collected to bridge bureaucrats who promised everything but dispensed only uninhabited time in spoonfuls of action mixed with bitter herbs and hope. Flashed uptown, neon burning my unsunglassed eyes. Then I poured into a room where a dark man slept. Knew the stripes of injustice because he ate them every day for lunch in his 3-flight Hollywood hotel walk-up. At 11 a.m. I climbed up the hill to see the god of architecture, but he wasn't home today. He left his temple and the caramel dogs who were busy digging in his front yard, holes big enough to run trains through. I complained when they said I couldn't wait. They threw me out anyway. Fortunately, I came prepared with Florida water from the Britannica, which I sprinkled liberally around the Aztec doorpost to keep the evil spirits out. This freeway through LA has my ass dragging on asphalt, racing metal monsters jockeying for position, 7 lanes of cars with crumpled fendered smiles on 4 lines of road, engines belching fossil fuel vapors that paint a thin brown line between sky and sea. Wearily, I bulldozed my way back to Dago, my tongue hanging out, panting like a tired lion after a chase. Dropped off the package at Hotel 911. 9 p.m., fell exhausted in his better bed store and almost drowned in a cup of house coffee. I spent too much for gas. They said they're going to pay me next time. Next time I cruise to LA. Thank you.
Again for Chris Vannoy. Chris Vannoy is what we call the founder of the feast. He has continually kept what we're doing tonight alive in San Diego. He has the poetry. He started Drunk Poet Society down in Ocean Beach, which was a great reading, fantastic reading. And, you know, he keeps this sort of thing alive. So once again, the guy that really keeps things alive in San Diego. People like Chris Vannoy and Joe Badonsky, and there's some people that really keep things going here in San Diego culture. And I appreciate that. I have 3 thoughts before I bring on the next reader. One of which is, I wanted to be a psychic, but I was afraid of what people would think. Also, I think this is a great way to describe the human race. We want to do the right thing, but we just want to do all the other stuff first. And this is my answer to Nietzsche. I read Nietzsche all through high school, which didn't do me a lot of good. I was a very depressed kid. And there were girls that actually liked me, but they were like, oh my God, hey, you want to go out sometime? I don't know, I don't want to do purposes, really, I don't know. But still, we're not, God is dead, and it's not really, you know. So, I always say, whatever doesn't kill you is probably just taking a break to come back so it can come back and finish you off later. So, with that in mind, I want you to go, you guys, I want to hear a pirate. You guys do a pirate R? R. R. Next up, we've got a great reader, his name and writer. His name is Christover. R. R. Everybody.
Hello. Yes, I thought first and foremost we ought to get back to the original beat generation, which was 500 and some odd years ago, back in Elizabethan England, when all those writers were sitting around trading barbs with the guys who were writing the King James Bible. And they were plagiarizing each other all over the place. And then they came up with reinvented history, things like friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears, I came to bury Caesar, not to praise him. The evil men do lives after them. The good is often interred with their bones. And then, back in the 50s, a gentleman by the name of Lord Buckley came along and translated it for all of us. And he said something like, hipsters, flipsters, and finger-popping daddies, knock me your loads. I came to lay Caesar out, not to hip you to it. The bad jazz of the cat blows wails long after he has cut out. The groovy is often stashed with his frame, so don't put Caesar down. So he was hanging with the beat poets a lot. He was kind of forgotten too. He made a lot of contributions to the beat performance era, and I just had to throw a little bit of Lord Buckley in there because the man was fantastic, and he kind of stole my heart. And then I went looking for some poems because I talked to our resident expert, Chris Vannoy, who I asked him what constitutes circa beat generation, because I was feeling kind of old, and when he referenced it for me, I realized that I got some poems that were written right back in that same time. And so I went digging a little bit, and tonight I'm going to share some poems with you that are over 50 years old. That in fact, one of them I just found last night, and I didn't even realize I wrote this. This one's called "To the Lady with the Whispering Smile." Whispered secrets in a touch. No galaxy could offer life as much in magnitude or style as can the secrets of your smile. I can see who you are in the aura of your star and hear the secret of the Nile in the whispers of your smile. Go looking. You're going to find these guys laying around. They're kind of refreshing. And then, hey man. Hey, yeah man. You man. Hey man. Can you hear me, man? Wake up, man. Listen. The earth is devouring you. Rise up, man! Life will leave you for another. Move, man! Your dreams will lie barren. Your work, tears, cries, and jeers wasted. Hey, man! 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 Can you hear me, man? Look at that. Yes. I got another one here, maybe. Okay. There's a pocket-sized replica of you sitting on someone's shelf, just waiting to be realized. The race is on. Where are you hiding yourself? Whose rules are you playing by? Stop! Take a beating. It's your turn. Don't try to blame someone else. You were next in line. Come on. You've got to grow up sometime. Just about the time you get it all figured out, something changes. Well, you should have read the fine print. It happens all the time. Haves got something, have-nots used to have something. What's the difference? Well, there is none. Just keep trying to tell yourself that. The deeper you sink, the less superficial they'll say you are. And just one more, if you will indulge me. This one, this one's called "While Old Wounds Bleed." Down perverted paths of glory, you come to show you care, you've come to change the story, to beat swords and to plowshares, here to make the world concede, here to stop what makes old wounds bleed. Burned out life starlights on moonless nights, drowning in a sea of doubt, probing eyes touch groping sights, and you cry out, what's this about? And your good words are scarred by deeds, and all good blood from old wounds bleed. The world turned, now nowhere is safe, in blood-hungry visions they slit your throat, cast from the womb an abandoned waif, in sinking self-pity you befriend the goat. You offer your soul to survive with your needs, now who's laughing? While old wounds bleed. Your spirit begins to fill with the pain of bearing the weight of a double cross. Paranoia found a home in your brain, and all of your dollars can't fill the loss. And what once was compassion now is your greed, and it's your river of misery making old wounds bleed. Fight to survive and you'll succeed. The signs are plain, or can't you read? Man's demise is gone to seed. No matter how you beg and plead, helplessly drained on you bleed, 'cause you've sold out. Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Christover R. Ladies and gentlemen, Christover R. Never lie to a woman. It never works out. I remember when I was 16, I asked a girl if she wanted to go on a date. She said, can you roller skate? I ended up falling down 14 times. And that's just while I was telling her I could skate. Hold on a second. I think I was one ahead. Yes, I was. I was one ahead. I was going to announce the second to the next poet. But the next poet is Mary Ellen Wilson.
Oh,
ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Mary. Is she prepared? Is she in the back? Is she ready? Ladies and gentlemen, Mary Ellen Wilson.
I guess so. I'll pick something else. Oh, she's up there? Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, it's really good to be here, to see so many great old friends that I haven't seen in many, many years. Oh, you have to move to Fallbrook, you know, and you're on a different planet. I swear. Oh, well. Okay, so I'm going to read a little bit of Ferlinghetti here for my bit. Here we go. All right. Reading Yeats, I do not think of Ireland, but of midsummer New York, and of myself back then, reading that copy I found with its fly-hung fans and its signs reading, spitting is forbidden. The L careening through its third-story world with its third-story people in their third-story doors, looking as if they had never heard of the ground. An old dame watering her plant, or a joker in a straw putting a stick pin in his peppermint tie and looking just like he had nowhere to go but Coney Island. Or an undershirted guy rocking in his rocker, watching the L pass by, as if he expected it to be different each time. Reading Yeats, I do not think of Arcady and of the woods, which Yeats thought dead. I think instead of all the gone faces getting off at midtown places with their hats and their jobs, and of that lost book I had with its blue cover and its white inside, where a pencil hand had written, "Horsemen pass by."
Wow.
So, I haven't been writing poetry, but lately what I've been doing is writing scripts. My spouse, Mark Chilio here, is an excellent writer, writes novels, short stories and such. So I've been taking his short stories, one called Old Nick, recently, and writing scripts, and we've been casting actors, and we just recently recorded the story that's going to be part of a show called Nightshade on KKSM Radio at Palmer College. And it'll be the first one. The thing I need right now is a composer. If someone out there is a composer who thinks they can, who would love to write music for a radio play that is a comic horror story, I really would love for you to come and get in touch with them. The other thing I do have going right now is a radio show called Music by Dead Guys and Gals. And that is on KKSM Radio on Wednesdays at 12 noon. It's a 2-hour show. And what we do is we resurrect a classical composer, and then I interview him. But of course, my classical composer happens to be a comedy improv actor. And I write a script, but boy, he adds a lot to it, and it's very, very funny. So if you get a chance, go to palomarcollegeradio.com and take a look at Music by Dead Guys and Gals. But this is an old poem I can do. This one's called Lunar Logic. Poets have lunar logic. The combs in their eyes gather lights from shadows, illuminate secrets, see rainbows before they appear. For poets, rapids stand like tiny glass-blown knickknacks, sparkle, sun shatter, and sprinkle like sequins in frothy root beer pools. Sun worshippers crave a constant light, but poets cherish the sparkle and dark syrup alike. Moon shadows and illuminations are of equal value. The legacy of contemplation, the fruits of beauty. Thank you.
Now we come up, this is a guy who's a real supporter, he's a really good reader. He has a reading on the second Friday of the month at Corky's Ice Cream down in Old Town. It's a really great reading, you might want to check it out. And his name is John Wesick. Give it up for John Wesick, everybody.
This is great. Go the whole gauntlet. Poetry. If I had been paying attention, would I have known that I was supposed to do something that beat poetry tonight? Yeah. Okay. All right. I thought so. I did go to Europa and did seminars, like writing seminars there twice. Once the teacher was Joan Kiger, who used to be Gary Snyder's wife, and then once Ad Waldman. But Ginsberg had already died by the time I was there, so never got to see him. But 20 years ago or so, I used to go to the Ralph's grocery store, like on midnight or so, because then the crowds weren't there. And so here's an old poem that's kind of like Ginsberg's Supermarket in California, called Late Night Shopping. I can't stand the crowds during the day with all those greedy people pushing and shoving. So I hitched a ride in Jack's car to an all-night grocery. It was sure kind of him to pick me up. No one else would stop. Allen Ginsberg is poking around the cucumbers. He offers me one, but I had my heart set on a melon or papaya. As usual, none are in season. Probably couldn't afford one anyway. Gary Snyder I order sushi from a Japanese man with a shaved head. That looks good. I'll have one too. The sushi chef hands me an empty plastic container labeled, "This too shall pass." Wish I'd gotten here 40 years ago when the fish was really fresh. I wind my way up and down the aisles, finding nothing that will really satisfy. Finally, I push my empty cart to the cash register where Patty Smith checks me out, asking, "Paper or plastic?" I'm struck dumb, and she says, "That'll be $100 million. I hand her my empty wallet. She asks if I have anything smaller. As I leave, she says, "Chow mein." I reply, "It's been surreal. I'm no different now and have nothing more than when I arrived." I still wonder what the whole point was and why I needed to come here in the first place. Yeah, like I said, that's an old poem. So, I don't know, he wasn't really a beat writer, but Richard Yates wrote Revolutionary Road way back like in 1962, and you know, some of you probably are aware of the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, but the book is so much better. It's like a course in how to write a novel in 200 pages or so. So this is Damage for Richard Yates. Seeing the reality of failure, the forgotten millions who wager hope at the tilted roulette wheel of the American dream, seeing the fallen bust of FDR, its nose smashed like your mother's ambition, seeing the frantic need in olive drab pants and the impossibility of love, and a loser laying banknotes of dreams on the 9-to-5 counter of mediocrity while his wife grows shackles in her womb. Your life was not wasted, not the straitjackets, nor the impotent days in a plaid bathrobe, not the roach-infested hours at a typewriter in a dank apartment, nor the bloody handkerchiefs, 4 packs a day, and gasps at the top of the stairs. Your Chernobyl psyche powered a spotlight of honesty to immortality. So, like, here's an old story, you know, that way back, Maya Angelou, you know, that she, 15 years ago, you know, there was this big controversy. Oh, Maya Angelou is selling her poems to put in Hallmark cards, you know, and, you know, oh, should she have done that or not? Is it right to do that? And I didn't take a position on that, but I just wondered what would have happened if Ginsberg had done the same thing. And so this is called Foul, or if Ginsberg had written greeting cards. I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by banality, brain-dead, rose-scented, dragging themselves through teddy bear aisles at dawn, looking for desperate birthday cards, blue-haired grannies burning with the ancient hormonal connection to syrupy verse in the cogs and wheels of commerce, whose bone loss lightens bodies for ecstatic hot flash-fueled flights of bliss, whose sweater sleeves bulge with tissues numerous as the diaphanous wings of an infinitude of angels, who journey to Indian casinos, ate buffets at Indian casinos, abandoned Indian casinos for Vegas, and now bingo cards long for their heroic pens, who never drive faster than their angels can fly, which is 25 miles per hour slower than the limit and in the left-hand lane. What poodle of cliches and bad rhymes hollowed out their skulls and poured Metamucil on their imaginations? Moloch, political correctness, low-carb, feel-good emotions, sacred cows fouling the streams of thought, countless chicken soup books, office workers comatose after endless sensitivity training, Moloch whose mouth emits a flood of Republican talking points, Moloch whose teeth are the soulless gray cubicles of Madison Avenue, Moloch, the Far Side and Dilbert cards have been removed, they broke their backs, lifting Care Bears to heaven, visions, dreams, inspiration, drown in a festering swamp of platitudes. Maya Angelou, I'm with you at Hallmark, where merchants cash in on your name. I'm with you at Hallmark, where customers gag on the stench of perfume. I'm with you at Hallmark, where our electric words wake shoppers from their comas. Oh, ancient legions, run to the poetry aisles of your independent bookstores. Oh, unknown writers, forget your day jobs, we're free. I'm with you at Hallmark. In my dream, you ride dripping with dollars on a bus tour through America to a guest spot on Oprah on a warm Chicago night.
Wesick. Brandon Cezmet. Come on, Brandon Cezmet. Come on. Let's hear it for Brandon. Well, I was the bartender. And I'm going to get to that bartender poem in a little bit. So who was the beat poet who went to high school here? The famous beat poet that went to El Cajon High? Wrote a book called Ring of Bone. You probably know him best for his work as a copywriter. He wrote the copy that's still used to this day for Ray. Ray Kills Bugs Dead. Lou Welch. Lou Welch, ladies and gentlemen. Lou Welch, a beat poet who spent some of his youth right here in San Diego, and
In the box.
and he
El Cajon.
in El Cajon, and he wandered off from Gary Snyder's house in the California mountains. His body was never found, and many great poems by Lou Welch. I don't want to. Chicago is one of my favorites by Lou Welch, but After Anacreon, or what I'm going to read for you right now, is Lou Welch's poem, I Saw Myself, from which the title of the book, Ring of Bone, comes from. If you want to do yourself a favor and discover a new beat poet, check out Lou Welch, L-E-W, W-E-L-C-H, and if you're of the Snyder wing of the beats, you'll like Lou Welch. I saw myself, a ring of bone, in a clear stream of all of it, and vowed always to be open to it, that all of it, and then heard ring of bone, where ring is what a bell does. Lou Welch presented. And this is called The Slow Let Go. And I'm going to read this poem because it's a ghazal that Shadab Hashmi helped. She was given a wonderful workshop, and she was bringing us the best of her culture. And I think that sometimes just reading a Middle Eastern form is an act of rebellion. You know, there's some people that would they don't understand that there's poetry is an aspect of our humanity that transcends our nationality, citizenship, race, religion, and so this is with some help from my teacher Shadab. The slow let go. Won't you stay, beloved? Coals glowing, we abide. Or in the river, flowing, we abide. The hats lost in crosswinds, pulled below currents, sunburned faces above the surface, showing, we abide. So you've died, and so will I, but with you in memory growing,
We abide. Though the scales are rigged by lack of faith in the weight of brass after mowing, we abide.